transmission. Radio Rebellion.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Radio Rebellion, a Star Wars podcast. I am your host, Alberto Calderon. I'm so glad to have you guys here. Thanks for taking a few minutes on this busy weekend. It's been a busy weekend for Star Wars fans. It was supposed to be even busier yet, with this being the weekend for Star Wars Celebration. This would have been, I think, day 3, which is the big panels, those big movie panels. And who knows if maybe this year it's going to be the TV panels taking over, because Star Wars is all over TV now. But here we are, unfortunately, no Star Wars celebration, no virtual celebration after the great week that was yesterday with DC Fandome. We're going to talk a little bit about that with our great guests. Can't wait for you guys to meet them. Brand new podcast making their stamp here in Star Wars, so we'll bring them in a few. But yeah, thanks you guys again for coming in. And like I said last week, like I say every week, I always forget to do this at the beginning of my show. So if you're watching this on the live stream, you're on the chat, thank you guys for being here. And if this is your first time joining the show, joining the Rebellion, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Very important, so you will get those notifications of when a new episode is going to drop. If you're watching it now or later in the replay, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're watching later on the replay, leave down a comment, ask a question. We'll reach back out and we'll keep the conversation going. Also, if you're listening to this on the podcast, just the audio podcast when it comes out later during the week, make sure to rate and review and also subscribe so you're not missing anything. So yeah, like I mentioned at the top, it is a busy week for Star Wars podcast especially. Everyone, the whole community started banding together, making different shows. Started on Thursday, the guys over at the Resistance Broadcast did their live show. Then also they had their virtual cantina for all the fans. I was lucky enough to be there for about 30 minutes around 9 o'clock. Had a great fun with those guys and everyone that was there. Then I believe it started yesterday, Remembering Resistance, the TV show. That's still going on with a lot of cast interviews. And also Force Fest 2020 has been going on all day, some great panels, and it continues tomorrow. And we're doing our part here today, just talking about Star Wars Celebration. I almost knocked my whole set down, so sorry if it just got all bumpy. But doing our part, just talking about what panels and what we would have hoped to see from Star Wars Celebration this year, because instead of me talking here about this, we'll probably just be doing a lot of smaller videos talking about all those great news, all the great reveals that came from Star Wars Celebration. But unfortunately, that's not the case. But we'll do our best. We're here to have fun, as always, as Star Wars fans. And before I bring in my guest and we start the show right, I just want to take a couple of minutes to, again, we're all Star Wars fans. We're also fans of geek stuff, nerd stuff in general. Just to give my condolences to Chadwick Boseman's family. That news that dropped last night was a shock to all of us. So thoughts to his family. Hope everyone's doing okay over there. It's a big loss for us as fans, but there are more important things in the world right now. But in terms of thinking just about movies and stuff like that, but a great person, great overall hero to everyone. So thoughts to everyone over there. So before we start, let me check who's on the chat. Mr. Rest, the first one there. How are you doing, Mr. Rest? Thanks for joining us. And I'm going to start banning you. You know it. Michael Condor on the 2Met2 Network. He's here, as always, of course. Thanks, Michael. Dale. How you, Dale? How you doing? And yes, Force of Light Entertainment. They are here. Michelle, Natalie, how are you guys doing? Thanks for being here. All right, so hopefully people keep coming in. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. So yeah, we'll have a great show today. But as always, you know me, you're tired of my face. Let's go ahead and bring our guests. Like I mentioned, a brand new podcast that just released their first episode last week. And without further ado, I think they've been waiting long enough. We have from the Triad of the Force, we have Gus, we have Nani, and Mo. How are you guys doing?
How's it going? We're doing pretty great.
All right.
Having a fun Saturday.
Hey everybody!
let me-
So nice to meet you all and catch up in this awesome new experience.
Yeah, thanks you guys for coming. I spoke a little bit with Gus right before the show. Just how you guys decided to start all this. Nani came in, we spoke a little bit. You're representing the Triad of the Force. And let's go right to it, because I had a question about your logo, which I'm going to, right off the bat, it's one of my favorite logos. I love your logo, and I think I know why. And this is a play on the, I should have said at the top, you, all three of you, counting myself now, so all followers are from Puerto Rico, correct?
That is correct, yes.
That is correct. Yep.
All right, so that's our flag, right?
What
That's a
equals?
play on our flag.
That is absolutely 100% correct, yes.
All right, I knew. I know, I love that you guys are using your logo just there. Well, let me just bring it up a little bit here so everyone can see a little bit better. Look at that. It's a beautiful logo. You got the Starbird from Rogue One, I believe, is that they use
That is
that
correct,
one.
yes.
And
Yep,
then the blue triangle with the white star. It's our flag, man. It's gotta be there. If you're from Puerto Rico and you don't have your flag proudly presented
Yeah,
everywhere that you are, there's something wrong with you. So I love your logo.
I
I love
agree,
that.
yes.
So who came up with this, or how did you guys come up first with the logo and then with the name Triad of the Force?
Yeah, the logo absolutely came first, because I had actually done variations of that one maybe a couple of months ago, because for my own personal Twitter just before we decided to have this be a thing that we're gonna do more consistently. Sure. So I had done a bunch of different variations of it with either different colors or gradients, or instead of the star have either the fulcrum logo or whatnot. But then we started discussing it kind of as a team, what we wanted it to look like, and I think we all agreed that this was the most appropriate one, because it's very Star Warsy, but it also ties back, I think, very elegantly to our roots and where we're from, and kind of gets that point across that we're a Star Wars podcast and we're from Puerto Rico, but without being too abusive, right? With the imagery.
Yeah, just change the name. Three Puerto Ricans talking about Star Wars. That'll be a little bit too much.
Yeah, exactly. Triad of the Force was that one took a while to come up.
That one did that took a while. We were just wondering, what will just encapsulate what we were trying to bring. I don't know. I think Triad obviously because of the 3-part combo, but it also kind of a tip of the hat to that idea of the dyad in the Force that has been coming up, and I don't know. It felt right. At first we were trying different variations, but it just felt right once it came out.
I mean, it's extremely topical, as you mentioned, with the dyad in the Force just coming out from Rise of Skywalker, having three of you guys, that Triad. Again, it just makes sense. But you said it did take a while to come up with the name. Did you have other names flying around before you settle on this one?
Yeah, but they're embarrassing. They were bad. They were bad.
All right, you can tell me later if you don't want. We'll talk after.
Yeah, we'll send you some of the rejects. Oh my god, it was bad.
All right, so yeah, I mean, this season, this is what we call our second season here in Radio Rebellion. It's where I'm trying to bring people that have different backgrounds than myself, trying to be a little bit more inclusive, diversity. So it's something we've talked in Star Wars and just in culture in general, being more diverse with the voices that are out there, more inclusive, more representation. So yeah, when I saw you guys a few weeks ago, kind of jump into Twitter, starting saying a new podcast, and then figuring out or finding out that you guys were from Puerto Rico, I had to jump on and say, I gotta bring this guy in. It doesn't matter that you just dropped your first episode last week. Again, if other people have helped me get to the point where I'm at now, which we're still new, only been here 7 months, I'm still growing. I should do my part and help new podcasters, especially from my island. I gotta give them the chance to share in a little bit.
Definitely appreciate that.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
We definitely appreciate it, and thank you for also like fomenting that diversity, which
Yeah, that's just important.
like sometimes it's not a scene through the fandom, and it's important just to have different role models and voices out there. So thank you for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Hi, Kat. How you doing? Brother Girl 28 is here. Oh, a staple of our show. I love Kat and everyone that's here. They always take their time on Saturday to spend it with us. So thanks for being here. Yeah, diversity is so important in everything right now. And I think something you guys brought up a little bit on your first episode, especially you, Mo, how it's changed your views on Star Wars. But we'll get to it in a while. Have you guys always been friends? Did you guys become friends
Yes.
because of Star Wars, or how this all came together?
No, well, actually, like Mo and I are friends because we went to high school together. So we've known each other ever since then. And then, like, I know Nani because she's my other best friend's sister. So, like, I met her through him, and then we just have been friends ever since. So, like, yeah, our friendships were basically independent from Star Wars, and it's kind of like it's a coincidence that we're just big nerds.
Yeah, I was gonna ask Aldi, because it's not every day. Puerto Rico, it's a place where fandoms are growing. My brother-in-law is extremely into Star Wars, and he has some of his friends that are also in it, but it's not a place that you would think you can meet friends from high school and, oh, look, we're all into the same thing at the same level. Because, yeah, I'm a Star Wars fan. Well, are you a Star Wars fan that goes out and creates a podcast?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely think that, and like Mo and now you can like correct me if I'm wrong in my perception, but like I think like fandoms like back home are different because I think like a lot of people are into a lot of things, but at least in my perception, not too many people are like super into like one thing enough to like be able to feed like one specific fandom consistently. I think like it's very it goes like with the times, like people are either fans of Game of Thrones because Game of Thrones are on, or Fast and the Furious because those movies are going on now. It's I think it's more transitionary fandom instead of like a consistent one. But I mean that's only been my perspective on it. I don't know if like you guys have had like a different experience.
I think it's true, but there are, some crazies like us as well. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Here, we're
I mean,
normal.
Crisis is the right word.
Big place for the normal ones, but
yeah. I mean, we've been friends for years, but it's true.
Yeah.
Usually when we would get together, eventually the conversation would stray to Star Wars. And, everything we expected, we would always have arguments every time one of the new movies would come out, all the theories, what we would expect. And then we would go see it and call each other right after it was done. Like, oh my God, what did you think? So.
All right. So we also have joining the chat Chris King. How you doing, Chris? So many of my favorite people here. Hi everybody. Hi Chris. Thanks for coming. Thanks for showing your love to Triad of the Force here. Just sorry to learn a little bit more about them. So we gotta know, what's your Star Wars story? I know you talked about this on your show, but maybe not everyone has had a chance to hear it yet. So what's your Star Wars story? What got you into Star Wars, if you remember?
Let's start with Mo.
Sure. Well, so my earliest memory. Well, not okay. Let's rephrase that. Not my earliest. My fondest memory of Star Wars was on my 10th birthday, where my grandmother just got me a surprise present. I wasn't aware what it was. After the whole birthday and everything, she comes up with the VHS special edition, the original trilogy, and I remember I was just ecstatic. I was just just happy, crying. To me, up to this day, is probably the best birthday present I've received. I guess I still have them. Just even though I don't have a VHS to play them, I still have them.
Just you were a Star Wars fan before, and then your grandmother gave you this as a gift, or is that when you started getting more into?
So I remember watching the movies with my parents and being really excited about Star Wars. It was just one of those things that right off the bat clicked with me. Just not only just, I mean, and at 10, it's probably harder to judge something by a story or like how it's written, but
Mm.
you can definitely see the experience, and the experience that comes from just being surrounded by everybody that's so in tune with the spectacular movies that just blow your mind. Like you rarely see like space. You rarely see all of this on. It's like pushing the frontier of what I knew or even had experience for in my life. So once that gift came in, I just saw them like hundreds of times. It was just like my go-to.
Yeah.
And that then developed eventually as I grew older, started getting more into the lore. It was one of those things that just naturally kept growing up as I grew up as well, and then just being mesmerized by it.
Yeah, it's one of those things that watching it as a kid, what you really enjoy is lightsaber battles, Jedi versus Sith, Star
The
Wars.
Ewoks. As a kid,
Ewoks.
yeah. That's what you went for, yeah.
Now
Ewoks.
I have my things about it, I have my thoughts about Ewoks, but yes, as a kid,
as a kid.
As a kid,
Yeah.
and definitely as a kid, like also just seeing all those space fights, those
yeah, those
like
space battles are awesome.
Yeah. They still hold up, the space battles.
They
Yeah,
absolutely.
they
do.
They
Yeah. Mhm.
they totally. To me, one of the best probably scenes was also like that's on Empire. The scene on Hoth.
Oh yeah, the
Like
Battle of Hoth.
from being from Puerto Rico, you rarely see snow. You rarely
Yeah.
see. We don't
Very
see,
rarely. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
so
Only in Plaza
Yeah.
Las Americas. That's the only place you see.
only the fake snow that's been thrown around every once in a
Yep.
while.
Get that in
Yeah.
your mouth
So-
or nose. And
Exactly.
So and then seeing it outside, then the other movies you will see it's like a Christmas movie or like something where, but now you saw a whole world that's based on ice. It was based on just those scenes are just spectacular, and they've always had a place in my heart. And
So how about you, Nani? Oh, sorry to cut you off, Mark. You wanna finish?
no, I was just gonna say with that, like that sums up.
So I where I grew up, my neighbors right across the street, they would do a lot of babysitting for my parents when they grew up, when me and my brother and sister were young.
Mhm.
And the husband was like obsessed with Star Wars. And he had the original trilogy taped on VHS from the TV, so you had to fast forward through the commercials and everything. Yeah. So I was hooked the first time. And then every time we went over, I didn't care what my brother and sister wanted to watch. We had to watch Star Wars. Like that was the rule. If we were going over there, we were going to watch Star Wars. And that just started the obsession. Back then in Puerto Rico, there really weren't a lot of people who were into it. So you kind of forget about it. I had some of like my old uncle's toys and stuff, but you couldn't really talk to other kids that were really into it. But then when the remastered versions came up on the theaters, oh my God, that just got me hooked all over again. To be able to see them on the big screen for the first time and see people actually start to get into them and have people to talk to about them, then it kind of solidified it again all over for me. So
yeah, I think that two of us have a similar story growing up with Star Wars. Growing up, my brothers were into it, especially my older brother, a little bit, but it wasn't that big thing that it is now. He's 8 years older than me, so we did talk about it, but there's a big age gap there. And after they came out, same thing, watch them on VHS a few times, and then you grow out of it. There's no more movies. I was born in 1980, so I always say, I said it here in the chat, on the show a few times, my first memory of Star Wars was 1983, going with my parents to see Return of the Jedi in the theaters and crying when Jabba the Hutt comes out. Because when
wow.
Hutt comes out, but then you drop off and there's no more Star Wars. You're a kid. No, there's nothing like now. It's everywhere. And any fandom you're at now, there's something. Back then in Puerto Rico or anywhere, there really wasn't a lot of it. But
Yeah.
when special editions came out, late 90s, 96 or 97, that same thing. Just went to a theater, saw them again as an older teenager, and mind blown for a second time. And then that's when I said, Ewoks, you're done.
Yeah.
I just put to that part. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to lose everyone in the chat at the moment.
But yeah, I think that's when we all realized that Empire was the best one.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's great, but Empire.
Unless you're Wally, but
Well,
But
yeah.
I had an older cousin who had a bunch of toys, which I do now, but back then no one had these Millennium Falcons, all the figures that now cost hundreds and thousands of dollars, and we're like, yeah, whatever toys.
exactly.
Oh well, now I want all those.
Yep.
All right, that's all right.
I can't. I want to cry about all the toys that we
I
threw
had
away.
Return of the Jedi bedroom curtains. I still have pictures.
Oh no!
They're in
And they're
the
gone.
dumpster in Rio Piedras, most likely out there. No.
Oh, yeah, that makes you want to cry. Definitely.
No, it's the same thing. My cousin, I remember he was also like into Star Wars when we were growing up, and he had like this big AT-AT that like you could open the side and like in the inside of the AT-AT.
Oh, I
just had it,
remember
like,
that.
packed with all his like Star Wars action figures. He was like reasonably older than me, so he was like out of he was kind of done with like Star Wars toys. So he's like, oh well, I mean, if you want to like take it and like take it home, you're welcome to. And I'm like, oh my god, yes. And then my mom was like, no, you don't need, you don't know. But like that's the thing. My mom was just like, no, you don't need more toys, so we're not taking. So like all those toys, same thing. Like they probably could sell them on eBay. I don't know how much money, but like they're probably in a dumpster right now.
I feel bad now as a parent because I tell my kids the same thing. You have too many toys. I'm not buying you more.
Yeah.
This is going away. In 20 years, they're going to be saying, Dad, why the hell you throw
should
away
get it.
my whatever they're watching now? But yeah.
Yep. Something that actually becomes very, very, very good with time.
So do you guys remember the first, or when you, I guess, got into Star Wars again, or the first time that you saw it, do you remember the big twist, basically Empire Strikes Back, hearing Darth Vader say to Luke that, no, I'm your father? Do you remember seeing that for the first time? Or
Oh yeah.
That's an interesting question.
Oh yeah. I was in shock. I couldn't believe it. I had to pause the movie and be like, what just happened? This isn't real. What? In shock. And then again, I actually remembered it, but it was fantastic to see it when I actually went to see it in the theaters for the first time with a re-release. And all the kids that I went with, they haven't ever seen it.
Yeah.
So I was just waiting for their reaction the whole time, like, oh my God, this is gonna be so much fun. And it did not disappoint. It was great.
Yeah.
And it's actually kind of cool to see now, like they show videos of little kids seeing the scene for the first time. It's great.
That's actually a good question. Like I think it's been like since I saw it when I was so young that like I actually don't remember like being shocked by that twist. It's just like it just feels like that's something that I've always
been
known.
there.
Always
It's always
known.
been there. Yeah, so like I don't even remember being shocked by it. That's interesting. I actually had never thought about that one.
Yeah, I asked everyone, and no one remembers. It's just been there for so long. So I'm grateful to you, Nani. Thank you for giving me.
Yeah.
I can leave it
Yeah.
to
For
you.
being the first.
I was in shock. Shocked.
You heard it first here, guys.
Yeah. That's why you gotta subscribe to this channel. You learn new stuff.
There you go.
Do you remember how old you were, Nani, when you saw it the first time?
I was born in 83, actually.
Okay.
So I probably saw it for the first time when I was 7
Okay.
or something like that. But that stuck with me. That and the Ewoks of the original three.
Ewoks.
Yeah, the Ewoks. Yeah, from when you're a kid. You love the Ewoks when you're a kid. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
that's true.
They look like teddy bears. That's what you remember when you see it from the first
Return
time.
of
But
the
I
Jedi
remember
was
being
my
shocked by
favorite
the
growing
twist, being like, what? How is the bad guy the dad? I just remember being shocked by that.
Mhm.
So
All right. So when did you guys decide to get together and say, hey, I think let's go ahead and start a Star Wars podcast. Let's go ahead and do it. Where did this idea come from, and how long did it take you guys from that initial to last week, I guess, was your premiere episode?
I mean, it took a while and a half. But like a while and a half. But it was very natural, like in a sense, because like Nani was saying, like ever since like we've known each other and been hanging out for like over 10 years now, like this has been kind of like a normal thing that we just do, which is just like have like long format discussions. Ewoks. That was good. That was good.
That was
Cat
good.
It's a good point. It's a good point.
Yeah, jump in the chat to say Ewoks, baby Wookiees.
Baby
Yeah.
Wookiees.
Yeah, baby Wookiees.
When you put it that way, they're not that bad, I guess. But yeah, like we would always have like these like long format discussions of Star Wars, and like at some point, like after like at least for me personally, I don't know about you, Nadia Mo, but like for me, like it was more of a wanting to do it like after like I went to Celebration in Orlando and whatnot, and like see like that Star Wars community of like podcasters and the Twitter verse and like all those people that are kind of like me and like Nani and like Mo, and like have like this passion for that lore, and that just do that in a quote unquote professional setting. That's like that's when I decided that like this might be like a interesting thing that we could explore. So like it's been a couple of years, and then like obviously kind of like getting the ball rolling to actually commit to it. I think 2020 has been like the big motivating factor, because it's just like, well, we're quarantined, we can't do anything. Like we literally have all this time on our hands, and like it's as best time as any to like do anything. So that I think that's how I saw how we developed into doing it. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, you basically invited me just like 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah.
You're in a podcast now. Come on.
Our intentions were very transparent too.
Yeah. I was like, is it because I'm a chick?
And it's like, yes.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yes.
absolutely.
With that other
Yes.
voice there. So who do we know that's not a guy that can be in Star Wars podcast?
Well, but like
Yeah.
it sounds facetious when we say it like that, right? But like I think it kind of ties into like what you were like mentioning like at the beginning of the show, which is like that diversity thing.
Yeah.
And like one of the things that like Mo and I have been discussing for a while before even doing this, it's just like, I mean, there's like hundreds of podcasts out there. It's just like 2 dudes or 3 dudes, or just talking about Star Wars in the same way. But like, so we figured, but it's different. You're Latino. There's a different flavor to the conversation.
I know, but it was kind of hilarious because as soon as I got the message, it's like, oh, do you want to be in a podcast with us? I was like, are you inviting me because I'm a girl? Yes, but we do know about Star Wars, so it makes sense. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'm in.
So it's that whole diversity.
We also we have a balance. That's part of the triad. We have I identify non-binary, so we also have that spectrum within the whole gamma of gender. So it's almost like we have a little bit of everything. And as Gus was saying, like, I don't know, we for like a year and a half, we've been just texting like, oh, let's do a podcast or let's do something
every week.
like,
do it. Yeah, okay.
Every week. And I'm like, yeah, sure, do it.
So basically, this started after Chicago.
No, I think we started talking about it like after Orlando.
Since Orlando? Wow.
Yeah.
We'll get to Star Wars Celebration in a minute, because I want to hear your experiences with it. Because I'll say it. People here know I haven't been to celebrations yet, even though I live in Florida now, 2 hours away from Orlando, and I didn't go to Celebration Orlando. And then I figured out that my neighbor went. Like, Jesus Christ. Take me with
Why didn't I go?
Yeah. I had my reasons, which since I think I mentioned it to you guys at the beginning, was, well, I have my family. Can I tell them, hey, I'm going to go to Orlando next to Disney and I'm not taking you. See you tomorrow. No.
Oh, yeah.
Or, hey,
family
come
would have
with
been
me.
upset with that.
Yes. And then if they come with me, then they're going to, okay, I'm done. I want to leave. And but we just got here. We got another 3 days. So it wasn't going to be so, I'll watch it online. That's fine. And then my neighbor, same thing, has 2 young kids, same as me. And he was able to go. And like, we were just rubbing it in. And then, of course, he told me everything. I'm like, I got to get there.
Jealousy.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun. I mean, that was our first one.
It was fun. And it's also family friendly. Like, you, at least
very much so,
like that's one of the things that I was like impressed. Like, you actually saw fans where the whole family was cosplaying. You had the baby dressed up as Yoda or an Ewok. You had the whole
that was actually really cool. Yeah.
We'll have a bunch of baby Yodas next time. So.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be Mando and baby Yoda cosplay everywhere. Yeah.
Yep.
So you talked a little bit just a few minutes ago about the format, having the 3 of you just each one with a different story of Star Wars. How did you come up with the format, or what's the format of your show? Because mine, I come here usually by myself, talk a little bit about any news item, and then we have a special topic. But your format is a little bit different. So can you explain a little bit what your podcast format is about?
I mean, we did discuss like doing the news aspect of like Star Wars, but like at least when we were discussing it, like we felt like it wasn't appropriate for like what we wanted to do, just because you know, like you and other people are like doing that, so like we felt we weren't contributing anything new in that department. So we were like, well, what we really like to talk about is just like going into like the super deep dives. Well, at least they seem like deep dives to us. Everyone else might be like, you guys don't even know what you're talking about. But like kind of like go into like more specific topics about like some of the issues that like we either have problems with or want to address, or that we are happy with, et cetera, of all the lore and whatnot. So, but we did want to do it like in less of a serious manner, because, you know, we didn't want it to seem too serious, and we want it to be lighthearted. That's why one of our shticks is that we always have a drink when we are discussing this, because it's, you know, supposed to be casual and fun. And I mean, you heard our podcast; it's not appropriate for children, but you know, just have fun, but like really like discuss it in a more in-depth manner.
So you like he's on our chat, Michael from the 2 Star Wars Network. He has his own YouTube channel. He does a couple of shows that he does every week, and one of them is not safe for work. Don't bring your mom.
Okay.
So you'll enjoy
not safe for Ewoks.
Not safe for Ewoks.
Not safe for Ewoks.
But you're right. It's even when I was starting this one, there's so many Star Wars podcasts out there, and I'm sure someone's gonna do a study at some point how many more came out of COVID.
Yeah,
right.
The format, there's so many. I understand. That's why I got into it, seeing podcasts and YouTube shows that had the same format that I do now. But I know it's difficult to add more to the conversation. But Star Wars is so diverse in the way everyone consumes it and what it means to them, that you still have that chance to give a different opinion or have a different voice. So that's the way I kind of look at it. So I don't feel too bad about doing the same thing that everyone is doing, but doing it the way that you guys are, especially at least your first episode, you go through same thing, how you got into Star Wars, and then your ranking of the movies. And each one has a different reason why it falls on that space. So yeah, there's so many Star Wars podcasts out there right now, but everyone's view of Star Wars can be completely different.
It's wildly different. Yeah.
That's
something that is
wanted to.
Sorry.
Like we sort of like wanted to emulate those conversations Nanny was talking about, like we would usually have after everybody left the party. Like we would
no one wanted to talk with us.
when the actual cool people stayed.
Thankfully, it was a nice place, so like we got to stay.
And especially, I mean, it was the first episode, so I think we did kind of want to just, you know, introduce ourselves, say why we got into Star Wars in the first place, and then get the rankings just out of the way, because that's one of the hardest topics sometimes to talk about, and just like lay it all out there and, you know, just get the ball rolling. We've talked about what we're doing for next episodes, but I don't think we've 100% decided what we're doing, right?
No, we have not.
Exactly.
You can drop it right now. It's a surprise for everyone.
We're more of an open format kind of podcast.
Yeah. I mean, and we are like, it's something that actually like that you're doing, Alberto, is like having like all like your interviews with like other podcasters. I think that's one of like the most valuable things, like having like that input from, you know, different points of view into it. And I think that's something that we wanted to do as well, is just have like, I mean, obviously in the future we would like to have people come in that, you know, to, you know, add to the mix of our three voices, but like also contribute to that, like, again, like what we keep saying, like that diversity of it, which is one of the things that I tried to like do with like our Twitter, for example, is just like keep as much diverse opinions of the fandom as possible within like that Twitter sphere, so like we don't get like locked into one specific way or one type of opinion and whatnot. Like Project Stardust is something that I have to like shout out right now that I saw is like coming up, that I think is one of those like really important type of channels that are very necessary in the fandom, because it's one of those things that's like not really discussed enough, because everything's just looked at this like very baseline, only the movies and only Star Wars, and like not look at like the actual social repercussions that like are that extend from all that stuff. So I think that's something that we wanted to do and like continue to do with like our conversations.
Yeah. Project Stardust, very important. And it even the way when they announced it and then the backlash that they got brings to the forefront why that.
Well, it should be. Yeah.
Yep.
Are you
Why we need it.
arguing the point that they're making? So shut up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was like women saying like oh, women in fandom get harassed by men that think they know more than us, and then immediately when they say that, it's men harassing them, telling them they're wrong. It's like, well, bro, come on. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing here?
Yeah. You're proving my point.
So one thing that I found out since I started this, because even still, I get sometimes nervous inviting people because they're just gonna say no, they don't know who I am, and I'm inviting people that have a bigger following than I have or whatever. But I've still to find someone that says no. And even people that I haven't had yet, hey, I'm busy right now, let's get back together in a couple of weeks, let me know, we'll figure something out. So Star Wars fandom has those two sides, the vocal minority that's too loud, that we
the dark side of the Force,
yes, unfortunately.
The saltier than crates.
It sounds really great, yes.
And then the other side, most of them are extremely inviting, and like the people in the chat here, they don't need to be here listening to me talk about Star Wars, but hey, they like the show, they like to be here, they talk among themselves. And the same thing with other podcasters. I've been invited into different podcasts. I invite people and they say, yeah, whenever next week we'll be there. And we just figured it out during that week, same as we just did last week. Hey, you want to come in? Let's figure out a topic and let's go. So it is a little bit intimidating when you're starting, but so far everything I've got has been positive for everyone I've invited, and the conversations like this one have been great. And it seems people that we would hang out anyway. So we'll do it here, and it's been great. So,
which is, I mean, it ties to my very limited experience, because like even like before we had like even seriously talked about like doing this podcast. Like I live in Chicago right now, and like after Star Wars Celebration, before Star Wars Celebration was happening here in Chicago, like there was obviously tie-in events that were happening, like Star Wars trivias and whatnot, and like we met like a couple of people like at those trivias that like ended up being like podcasters and whatnot, specifically like Force, like we met the girls from Force Toast, Laura and Alice and whatnot, which was really cool experience. And like through them, they kind of became our trivia rivals. Over there, they always beat us. Oh, we did beat them once, only once. You heard it here first, guys.
Yeah.
But like
some of those I've been thinking about contacting them, see if they want to come on, and I'll remind them. Do you remember Gus from Celebration? He said he beat you guys. So
once at replay. That's all you have to say. Maybe they'll remember. But the point I'm getting to is like met them. They're really cool, and then like at other trivias, like through them, met a couple of other people that are also like in that podcasting like universe and whatnot. It's like this whole thing of like positivity and acceptance, and just like being like cool fans that just like want to help each other out and like give you that follow or that retweet or that support. So I think it's like I've had like a really positive experience, not only like with this limited experience that we've had through podcasting, but also through Star Wars fandom. Because I think like when we get into Star Wars Celebration, I've had like extremely positive experiences in like the two celebrations that I've been to.
Just rub it in, that's fine.
That's what we're here for, though. That's what we're here for.
No, we're getting there.
Almost third celebration, but that we missed that one.
Yes.
Right, so as we keep moving on, Dale in the chat, as we're talking about ranking movies, he said, considering there's something I love about every Star Wars movie, I've never ranked them. They're like children. Yes, they are. You can love all of them differently and still love them all with your heart. Yes, and I tell my children that every day. And
Is it true, though? Is it true?
And also, I haven't ranked the movies yet here. We'll be doing it soon. I'm going to do a rewatch on all of them, and each week is going to be a new episode that we're going to be talking about. And then at the end, I'll do my final ranking. I'll include the Clone Wars movie on it also.
Oh, that's the bottom of the list. I love the Clone Wars. Don't get me wrong. I love the Clone Wars, but the Clone Wars movie, holy crap.
I know. I have it back here somewhere. I'm going to find it. All right. So so I think that does it for a quick introduction of everything here with you guys. We try out the Force. So if you guys are ready, I'm ready. Let's talk Star Wars. So Star Wars news. So this was the week that we were supposed to be all over Star Wars news. It was going to be everywhere. New TV shows, new movies, games, books, everything. And there's nothing because Star Wars Celebration didn't happen. And we got
some false leaks of a trailer coming out, and the trailer didn't happen, and Twitter was upset.
So that was last week. We talked about that a little bit.
It was a trap.
It was a trap.
We all fell for it. So the Mandalorian season 2 trailer didn't drop last week during the NBA playoffs. I said here last week, it's coming this week because it was Star Wars Celebration. They'll drop it next weekend, which is today, and we'll have something, and we're still here.
Nothing. I absolutely thought that as well. Yeah, I thought they would.
I thought it was going to happen, but
I thought they would give something.
Especially how well the DC one went.
Yeah. I thought they'd do one of their fake announcements that they always do, like, oh, we're going to have like this director do this movie, even though they're going to cancel it in 6 months. But at least like one of those like announcements.
Some news.
Something, like to make us talk about it. But
so
they did drop the Lego Star Wars trailer.
So that's where I was going. The only official news that came out this week was a couple of trailers. The Lego Star Wars trailer dropped for the complete saga, but unfortunately got pushed till next year. Then there was an announcement of, I think, the Sims 4. There's going to be Star Wars part of it. And then another gameplay with more information about Star Wars Squadrons, which is dropping on, I think, next month, in October.
I think it's October.
October the 2nd, I think. Something like that. Yeah.
So I've said here before, that's why I don't have it on my notes. I'm not a big gamer anymore, unfortunately. I used to love playing Xbox, but when I became a father, all that went out the window. So I don't cover them too much. But
it'll come back, though. When they start playing video games, then that's your opportunity to jump back in.
Maybe. Are you guys gamers? Does this news interest you? Are you excited for any of these games?
I was really looking forward, actually, to a game panel. I'm not necessarily that excited about Squadrons. The last game, the Battlefront 2 remake was good, in my opinion. I did not like it. Mm-hmm. I have to say I didn't play Fallen Order, which
was really good.
So I heard that was good. I haven't played it, so I can't really talk about it. But I didn't necessarily want the follow-up to be, because Squadrons is supposed to be a dog-fighting space game, right? Yeah. I like the person-to-person ones. Like, I really liked some of the old 64 ones.
Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, Rogue Squadron. The original Battlefront I did like too. Hey,
Battlefront 2 is really, really good after they took away all the microtransactions and everything.
Did they?
All the updates. It's amazing. I love that game.
Really? I was so put off at first when I first played it that I kind of just never went back to it.
Oh, you should give it a second chance.
I should give it a second chance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'll think about that.
You don't have anything else to do. It's quarantine.
The Force Unleashed was really good. Yeah. Both of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
How about you, Mo? You into any of the games?
Well, the last one I played was the Fallen Order, and I right off the bat I was like, you know what, I want to do this as a Jedi Master level, because why not? I'm not a Padawan anymore. But I had nothing else to do, and being beaten over and over again
was bad for your own image.
No. I think it gave me a sense of more respect for the Jedi, for the stormtroopers. Because
exactly, it's like everyone that criticized the Attack of the Clones, all the Jedi being killed, it's like, hey, it's numbers. Like, if there's people are swarming you, will die.
If you're just one person against 50 blasters, you're gonna die. It's just math.
Oh, you're just getting back at me for the comments I made in our podcast.
Yeah.
I was do this math on that one, but we won't bring it up.
And I really love the like, it's almost like a continuation of the story. It just felt that's the kind of games, like, I haven't gotten into like Battlefront that much because it's just, I mean, it's cool, but it lacks that story. That,
well, the campaign is actually really good. The problem is that it's too short.
It's too short. That's
it's
what
super short. It took me like just a 1 day to finish that campaign.
Not even like it's like.
Oh,
2
that's
hours.
a really short. That's really short.
But it's so good though.
It is a good. It is a really good story. It almost feels like it's a walkthrough movie.
Yeah.
Which is nice. It's nice. You know, you're still consuming the stories and the media that we love, but on a more like one-on-one. You're engaged in the action.
Yeah, it brings you a little bit into it.
Okay, you've convinced me to play it. You've convinced me to play it.
Especially like if you have like your PlayStation Plus or whatever the equivalent on Xbox is, like you're like playing with your friends and just like being immersed in like that Star Wars universe. It's just like, you know, amazing. Right?
Chris King on the chat asks, this is the first same Star Wars game, right? And I believe so. I think that's one of the big things that came out of Twitter yesterday.
The only thing I don't know about it, if it's an actual like Star Wars Sims or if it's like a plug-in for the regular Sims.
I think it's a plug-in, but I played Sims maybe 20 years ago, so I don't know how that works anymore. But all right, so the only other news, and it's not really a news, was a rumor, and this comes from the guys over at Kessel Run Transmissions, which unfortunately they were the ones that were saying, or kind of, saying that the Mando Season 2 trailer was coming next week, but they did not own to it, and they did report something on the show this week explaining why it didn't drop. I'm not going to go into it because it has some spoilers on it. But the new rumor coming from Kessel Run Transmission is that on the Kenobi series, still untitled, hopefully coming out next year, is that Commander Cody and the 212th Battalion will appear on the Kenobi series, and also some information that Anakin Skywalker himself will also show up in the show as a most likely flashback to their time in the Clone Wars, which sounds great, and I wish I didn't hear about it. But yeah, so Cody coming back. If you've listened to my show before, you know I have issues with Commander Cody, why he's the worst clone trooper in the history of Star Wars. He had one job, and that was kill Obi-Wan as he was going up a cliff. He had the lightsaber first, wrong move, but he's right there. He tells his guy.
But when he gave him the lightsaber, the ship wasn't activated.
It still counts. It happened 10 seconds. My issue with it, he shoots the guy down. He tells his guy, shoot him or whatever he says. Kenobi falls into the water. And he's like, okay, we're done. We killed the Jedi Master. Let's all go. I got to be in Coruscant in 10 minutes. He couldn't spare someone to stay there. Hey, just wait here till he comes out. Those Jedis are crafty. No, he bounces, leaves a new recruit there, and then we know what happened. So
I'm glad though, because then we got Obi-Wan. Yeah.
I forgot. He's the worst.
You had one job to do, just one. You failed at that.
But I'm glad he failed at that one.
Glad. But if we're talking about good and bad stormtroopers and clone troopers, he's up here's that bad list.
So we're not excited. We're not excited that he's going to be in the Kenobi show.
So what this brings up is he's going to be hunting Kenobi, trying to find him, trying to redeem himself, because he heard my episode and said, I gotta come back and find Kenobi so Alberto doesn't rail on me anymore. But again, it's a rumor. If we haven't heard anything from Lucasfilm or Disney, so we'll treat this as a rumor. But are you guys excited first about the Kenobi show? And we can talk about it a little bit more when we go into our main topic. And this rumor of Cody coming back and maybe Anakin in flashbacks.
I'm absolutely on board and excited for the Kenobi show. It's like Ewan McGregor is like, I mean, I don't know if you got this from listening to our first episode, but we all have a very aggressive positions on the prequel trilogy. But one thing I think all three of us are very, very happy with was always Ewan's portrayal of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So like more Obi-Wan is always a good thing. The only thing I'm personally like concerned with is that I want to see like Obi-Wan's story like move forward. I don't want this to become like a live action Clone Wars episode.
Sure. Yeah.
Because then it's just like, well, we're just like, which is something I'm concerned with Star Wars going forward. It's just like just treading, things that we've already done, we've already seen, just to make the fans happy. It's like, no, I want to go, somewhere new, somewhere different, somewhere crazy that we haven't seen. Like I want like Star Wars to feel fresh and not rehashed. So like, but I do like that thing of Cody like hunting down Obi-Wan. I think that could be interesting.
How about you guys, Mo and Nani? Are you guys interested in this rumor and the Kenobi series?
Well, as soon as they announced that Obi-Wan series, I was super excited about it. Going, not getting ahead of ourselves to what we would have wanted to see in Star Wars Celebration. That is definitely something I would have definitely wanted to see. I was really, really excited about it. I want to see what they come up with, because The Mandalorian, honestly, I wasn't expecting it. And, having a character that we already love in Obi-Wan and then having a series about it and where they could take it is very exciting. All the possibilities that they could have. I don't know how I feel about the Cody rumor, because we already know he's incompetent. So him chasing him around doesn't seem like much of a threat. But I don't know. Maybe he found inspiration in his failure. Yeah. Who knows?
And that motivated him a little bit.
Well, and the Hayden Christensen, I really hope they do something for him, because I don't think he's to blame for how bad Anakin was.
No,
I think
absolutely not.
The writing was to blame for that. So it would be nice to give him a chance to redeem himself within the universe, like even if it's in flashbacks. I think it'd be cool to see.
Well, it needs to be flashbacks.
Hayden, as a great actor, he's done great stuff before and right after. And like Vader Girl Cat is saying, yes, please bring Hayden back. Everyone loves Hayden Christensen. They do love Anakin. A lot of it thanks to the Clone Wars, but everyone wants him back to be able to redeem himself for those people.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And then just go ahead. No, before.
I'm excited about the Kenobi. I just want them to take their time. Because it's a
sensitive subject
story. Yeah, it's a very delicate subject and story.
Yeah.
But if I were to, I guess, raise my expectations for what the show could be, it could be a great way to like look a deeper dive into the Force. Like we have now a Jedi Master. Yeah, a Jedi Master that has become a hermit. and it's but like Obi-Wan's character is not it's a very sociable character. So to see, I would like to see like how he matures in the Force.
Yeah.
From that perspective, like
maybe a Qui-Gon cameo. Oof.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Definitely.
Our favorite Jedi.
Yep. The best Jedi.
The best Jedi.
All right, so we'll do another show. We'll talk about Kenobi again and everything that can happen. Before we move on, I want to highlight something that Michael from the 2 Network said regarding Kesseron transmission and their scoop last week of the trailer, was that it wasn't their scoop. They were just passing on something someone else said. Again, great. We got to clear everything up. And also, scoops on trailer dropping are totally different than scoops on shows. Trailers or footage can be changed in an instant. Shows or actors can't, and that's completely right. And we know how things are with studios and people start.
I never understood people taking that seriously. It's just like it's a rumor. It's like no one said that. As long as it doesn't come from StarWars.com, it's still a rumor. So, don't get upset if it doesn't happen. It's fine.
And then quick shout out to our friend, top tier fan here, a Rudolph fanboy, Anton. He's busy today helping with Forfest Saga, moderating a few panels over there. He's a constant here. He's always promoting our shows, helping everyone else. So a quick shout out to you, RFB, for being here, even if it's just to say hi. So thank you. And with that, I think we're ready to move to our main topic, which is what could have been. in Star Wars Celebration. So let's bring our graphic again. So Star Wars Celebration, what could have been? Unfortunately, like we said at the beginning, this was the one. Yeah, this is the week. Everything was dropping this week, but unfortunately, COVID happened, and they made the right decision by not having a convention, but not having a virtual convention. And you know what? I'm jumping ahead because I'm so excited to talk about this, and I mess up my shows every time. But that's why I like doing the live shows. If I was just doing the podcast, I would stop everything, start from the beginning. Right?
That's a commitment. Yeah.
About this. We're still not going to Star Wars Celebration. We're talking about you guys now. So you talked a little bit about what you were looking for with Star Wars, because kind of don't retread, don't give us the same thing. So what are you guys looking for in the future of Star Wars? Are you more excited about possible TV shows, movies, the books? And same thing you were saying, just give us something completely different, or stay with the characters and the eras that we already know. So what are you excited about?
What do you think, Nanny? Let's go with you first.
I would actually love to go all the way back and go to Knights of the Old Republic. And you can do that however you want. You want to do movies, you want to do a show about it. I think it's a great lore back there that hasn't been explored enough, I believe. If you want to go forward, you have to go, I think, really far away. I think you have to get away from the Skywalkers and just do something completely different. But that's basically where I am at right now. I changed my mind.
That's fine. That's why we talk about Star Wars every time. We change our minds. We see things different. High Republic is probably high on, sorry, not High Republic. The Old Republic is high on everyone's list as something they want to see. And with what they did with Mandalorian, everyone's now on that train of TV shows. You can give more time to those characters. Look what Game of Thrones did. Do that with Star Wars in an Old Republic series. That's what everyone's kind of focused. So we'll see.
I mean, but Mandalorian is a little dangerous, at least for me, like going forward with season 2, especially with some of the rumors that have been coming out, which is like they're exciting as a fan to like see some of the things that have been going on the internet. But like on the other hand, and like I've seen other like podcasters and YouTubers say this, and I agree with it. It's just like, and what we discussed, it's just like, well, giving us like too much of familiar things, when like one of the reasons that I think everyone liked The Mandalorian is just that it's fresh and it's not tied into like anything that like we are familiar with. And like if season 2 is just gonna start, dropping all those like cameos, you start tying it into everything, I feel like it's gonna go back into that same trap, just like limiting your storytelling to just be like fan service.
Yeah, when all those rumors are, again, rumors, nothing is confirmed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I did one of my episodes, I counted how many of those not new, but characters we already know were coming back. I think I made it to almost 11. Unless you do a season that's too long and that falls short, or they're just 5-minute cameos that don't add anything to the story, then why even bother having those people? Even though some of them I do want to see. Everyone here knows Boba Fett is my guy. I know we can talk about why people think he sucks, but I don't. I want to.
Can't tell the bad hand.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna get sad. But there's so many other characters that, that sounds great, but with this one, it's too much. So hopefully it doesn't fall too much from what we love about Mandalorian, something new. The Mandalorian, Din Djarin, and Baby Yoda are the main drivers of that show. We can't lose focus on that. So hopefully I do trust them, so we'll see what happens. But apart from that, Gus, what else are you excited for or looking towards in the future for Star Wars?
Well, honestly, like I was really looking forward to like that Rian Johnson trilogy, because I think that was something that felt like it was going to be like something completely fresh, especially like judging by The Last Jedi. And like, Last Jedi is a touchy subject for a lot of people, but like the three of us really, really enjoy that movie. And like, it's a movie that kind of gave us hope that like, Star Wars was going like in a really good and invigorating direction. Yeah. So like, I was looking forward to that. Because like I feel like the places where Star Wars has like become comfortable in being like weird and new, there's like comic books and novels, and I think that's great because I read some of them and it's fantastic. But I wish like they just went out of their way to make that a little more mainstream instead of just like keeping all these live action things, be it like TV or movies, always harken back to like the original trilogy. Like, I love the original trilogy, but I'm ready for new things.
Okay.
Ready for change. Yep.
Exactly.
And you, Mo, what are you looking forward to? Or what would you like to see?
So from the current, what I would like to just to have like a complete like story for Rebels. I think that was it's one of those shows that I was amazed from the beginning to the end, and really would like to see that whatever conclusion happens to Thrawn and Ezra, and if what Ahsoka and Sabine are gonna do. So I think that's from the current. That's what I'm most excited. My dream movie, and I know this probably will never happen, but I think I have told Gus and Nanny about. But I would love to see a horror movie, kind of like slasher about Vader just going down and hunting. There was an episode on The Mandalorian that gave me hope that it could be a really good show. It might have been episode 6 or 7. Yes, The Prisoner.
I love that episode.
Yep. That's amazing.
That's good.
When I saw that,
they're all good episodes.
Imagine just Vader having this movie, just doing that. Just you can.
Which is the hallway scene in Rogue One.
Yes. Exactly. It was just the Rogue One scene, but like that would be my dream movie. I've always loved that character.
Yeah.
But apart from those things, I really want to get away from whatever is the Skywalker and saga and everything. I think we're past.
Yeah, Rise of Skywalker killed it for me. This is
Well, because there's literally no Skywalker left.
Yeah, but
Exactly.
just
they're all dead.
Because we like get away from
Spoiler alert.
the idea.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Yeah.
So you gotta be careful. That's a name for walking around. So anyway, finish up.
So like just either going way into the future or way into the past will be what I would expect, or the other way around. Explore the same eras but with completely different characters, kind of like what Rebels did. It was just it's tied to the main story, but we're looking at completely different aspects of what happened.
Yeah, I think we're all in the same page, and we need to move away from what we already know, be it movies, TVs, or books. I'm really looking forward to the High Republic novels. I really started getting into the Star Wars canon books when Disney took over. I wasn't too much into the expanded universe, but I am into the new canons, and the High Republic is just it's 200 years in the past, characters that we don't know anything about. Maybe Yoda shows up, but apart from that, and the Jedi that they've introduced so far, new characters. So hopefully that gives them kind of, okay, people are looking for different stories, go even farther back for the Old Republic, or going to the future, just explore a different part of the galaxy. So again, we might have gotten some of this in Star Wars Celebration, but we didn't. So last thing before we move on to our topic, our official topic this time, and I won't mess it up again. What's your guys' favorite scene? If you had to pick one scene in Star Wars, what would it be?
Oh, that's a hard one.
That's a good one. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think because, at least personally for me, just because it's still new, and every time I like think about it, it's like so. There's so much to like analyze from that scene and everything like around it to like tie like all 8 movies, because obviously it's a Last Jedi scene. But like that scene when Luke becomes one with the Force, like that scene for me is just amazing. Not just because of like how it was shot, because I think The Last Jedi is one of the most beautiful Star Wars films in terms of like cinematography, but like everything like built up until that moment, and like how Luke becomes one with the Force. The last thing he sees are like the twin sunsets, to kind of harken back to like how his adventure started. It's like, I mean, I'm usually not a fan of George Lucas's like, oh, it's like poetry, it rhymes. But like in that case, like but in that case, I was like, you got me, Rian Johnson. It's just like, it rhymes, and it was some beautiful poetry right there.
So I'm on the other end of yours. I'm on looking at the twin suns when Uncle Owen tells him, "Oh, you can go next year." He goes out
Yeah.
there, so he doesn't need the
Yeah.
tweet us, and then we hear that theme for the 1st
Mhm.
time. That's my favorite scene. My favorite theme, my favorite music
Yeah.
in Star Wars is that one. So we're
Yeah.
both. We have the bookend of Luke Skywalker.
Yeah,
between the-
exactly. Yep.
Right. What about you?
Nani?
Let's go with Nani. Okay, that's Nani. What's your favorite scene in Star Wars?
Oh, now you have me all confused because I loved both of the ones that you said, and I love so many in between as well. It's so hard to pick.
It is.
actually.
It is tough.
It's really hard to pick a favorite scene. I've never really thought about it.
All right. So while you think about it a little bit more before we
Yeah,
jump,
I need some time.
Dale over in the chat is saying that he likes the scene with Dean and the child in chapter 1, which I'm guessing it's when he finds them and he kind of do that little
Yeah.
finger. What about you, Mo? What's your favorite? Maybe not favorite scene, but when you think about Star Wars, what's the first image that comes to your mind? It can be from Rebels, Clone Wars, the Clone Wars movie.
Well, sorry, now I have two answers because as you were talking, so I guess for favorite scene, it will have to be on The Last Jedi where Rey falls into the that abyss pit, and then she sees her reflection and starts like that whole scene is so impactful. There's so much meaning behind it that and it reflects entirely on Rey's journey that I have to say that will be at this moment my favorite scene. But this when you said, oh, what comes to mind when you first say Star Wars, it has to be the Death Star.
Okay.
Just like it's that one single image, and I still like every time when it's the full moon, I look up and it's like, ooh, kind of looks like the Death Star. Like it's like it's one of those. It's just so Star Warsy in every sense. You know, you have. It's not a planet. It's not a moon. It's an actual Death Star. It's just this.
It's not a space station.
Yeah, it's not a space. It's a space station. So, it's. I will have to say just the scenes where the Death Star pops up are like quintessence of what Star Wars is.
Star Wars. That's iconic Star Wars imagery, right there. Both of those scenes. Even though I'm on the other end when it comes to The Last Jedi compared to you three, so I won't bring it up.
No, please do. We welcome the,
If you invite me on your show, then I'll tell you. And that if you want to go on your show. So Nani, you got a few minutes to think about anything.
Okay, so one of the things I honestly and always hit me the most, and I will always remember, and even if it's not, I don't even rank the movie as high, but when Luke is having the pyre for Darth Vader,
yes,
and that scene just always stuck with me. It's so sad. I mean, and it's so iconic. And then I really loved that they brought back like the melted helmet, in the other movies for Kylo Ren, and that he uses that as an icon for himself. And it will always bring me back to that scene where Luke is just standing there by himself, the only person that will mourn Darth Vader. It's amazing. So there you go.
Great.
That's good. That was a good answer.
That's a great point.
Yeah, all three of those answers were great answers. And again, exemplify. This is when I was in the virtual cantina earlier this week. They asked this question, and there were, I think, 13 or 15 people in that Zoom meeting at that point, and everyone had a different answer. So it's like we talked at the beginning, there's so many Star Wars podcasts, but we all have different views on it, different scenes that connect with us for different reasons. Like Mo said, the mirror scene, it's special for him. And it's a scene that doesn't come up a lot when people talk about favorite aspects of Star Wars. But when you start analyzing and people that love The Last Jedi and what it meant, that scene, what it means for Rey, it's very important. So that scene, and it's great. So just to finish up, Dale kind of adds in the chat again, the Ahsoka and Maul duel in season 7 of the Clone Wars, which I believe.
It's not. Well, the problem here is that, like, if you heard our podcast, we have one member of our team here that
Didn't she
Has
say?
not, has not.
Yep, I haven't watched the Clone Wars.
She made it exactly. She broke
I
her
made a
promise
promise.
to her viewers.
Well, I didn't say when I was going to watch it. I just promised that I would. My husband is very angry because what he would want to watch is a new season of Clone Wars. Like, that's what he would want to see, a new season of Clone Wars, and I'm not into it at all. And he's always like, "Please watch it. I need to talk about
please,
it."
Please.
Yes. And then he's kind of waiting.
I'm begging you.
I'm begging you, please.
And he's kind of waiting on watching Rebels because I haven't watched the Clone Wars just to watch it with me, and I'm being a horrible wife, so I should probably watch it.
Yeah. So
aside from the promise that I already made.
So you guys brought this up on your first episode. Same boat, Nani. I was there. I started watching Rebels when it came out, and I fell off from it because it really wasn't for me. Then a friend of mine told me, no, you gotta stick with it. Season 4, that's when it gets good again. I had heard that, Darth Maul is back. I'm like, no, how? And then, no, you gotta go watch it. I started again from season 1 and then just breeze through it. Once you get to season 3.5, more or less, it picks up and it's a great show. And then the last season is just awesome.
Yeah, I heard
that you can watch Rebels without seeing Clone Wars. That's my opinion.
Okay.
I know there'll be things that you won't understand, but once you go back to Clone Wars, I will give you that boost to say, yeah, I gotta figure out why everyone is saying this or what's so important. And that will give you the little boost to go back and watch Clone Wars, because 7 seasons is a lot to get into. Instead of just 4 with Rebels, I think it's easier to start that route. But again, you made a promise, so on your show.
It's good advice, but I did make a promise. I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, again, we have someone.
Mo and I are nice friends, and like we told her like, hey, you can skip the first season. we're gonna be nice, and you can skip the first season and just go straight into the good stuff in the second one.
All right, so now we can jump to unless there's something else you guys want to talk about, but we've been talking for over an hour and haven't touched on our main topic yet. So I think it's time.
With us, yeah.
Let's go back. Star Wars Celebration. It didn't happen this weekend. That's fine. We're here to talk about it. Unfortunately, the biggest surprise, like we started saying, yes, cancel it. It makes sense, but no virtual celebration is the big surprise because DC Fandome, and we'll get to it in a minute, but we had Comic-Con cancel their con, and they were virtual right then. And then DC Fandome, we saw what they did last week for Star Wars to not do anything, just so surprising. So before we get into it, you guys on your Twitter were tweeting a lot about DC Fandome. So what were your thoughts on it first? And then how do you think this is going to change the way that conventions are done in the future? A lot of more studios may go this route?
I think they have no choice, honestly. I think they don't want to because there's way more money to be made by having physical conventions. But sadly, I think that for the time being, because of COVID and whatnot, this is just a way to do it. And honestly, I think DC Fandome was like a masterclass example of how to do a good, engaging virtual convention that has a good makes all the fans involved in a better way than we were talking about this before we went live, and the San Diego Comic-Con tried to do their live convention. I think that was an utter failure to be frank, because it was all these pre-recorded things, a different play that was just on their YouTube, and there wasn't the dynamics were totally different. It was just okay, here's the content, instead of making a dynamic content that engages all the fans and kind of gives us what we want. Because I think one of the things that was great about DC Fandome was all the trailers that we got, be it from video games, if you're more into that stuff, or all the movies we're more partial to on our channel. I think that was the way to go. And honestly, I thought that Lucasfilm was gonna do something, or at least announce something. So I'm a little disappointed that the only thing that they've done so far is just have the celebration store with 5 T-shirts.
Yeah,
I saw
that yesterday. Oh man, and they're still at the $50 price for a T-shirt.
Yeah,
for who couldn't go.
It's nope. At least give us more stuff. You're just gonna take our money. At least give us stuff that we want.
But from our, at least from our experience on like how some, at least Orlando Star Wars Celebration was run, it kind of goes in hand with, maybe they're not ready for a virtual experience, especially after the success that the DC Fandome was. It's almost like, oh wait, now we're supposed to be Star Wars. We're supposed to be this great experience, and now, I don't know. It's. I feel like they were just not ready and didn't even consider, at least for now, like, oh, let's do a virtual one.
Yeah, I think it's something if they just waited to see what DC did and then decide, I think it's too late. Someone that used to work for Star Wars, I think on the marketing division, did say, hey, this is something that takes a long time to organize, that if it wasn't announced the same day around the same time that they say, hey, Star Wars Celebration is canceled, if they didn't announce it then, it wasn't going to happen. And I'm not on those conversations, unfortunately. So I don't know how long this stuff like this takes. But I was always waiting. Oh, they have to announce something. Even if it's just one day, a couple of hours, and then make your stuff like Marvel does when they announce their slate. I was hoping for something at least to that extent. Maybe not as big as DC Fandome that we talked a little bit before we started, how long it was. But give us something. We've been waiting for so long. They pushed back the movie, so now there's nothing, and then no announcement. At least coming out and saying, "Hey guys, I know you want it, but we're not doing it right now. We have something for the future." But leaving the fans kind of in this void, I think it's
which is actually really disappointing because Star Wars is huge, and now it's Disney as well, and they know everybody.
Yeah.
So you would think they would anticipate that. The celebration would be canceled because COVID has been around for a while.
But it's, they're corporate. They couldn't cancel it until they did, so that they could get their insurance deposits back or whatever it's called. I was reading about it.
Yeah, but you would think they would have still have time to prepare something virtually. It didn't need to be as extensive as DC, but they could have done something. And DC's actually been known for their inconsistencies, and they came out with this great virtual. And you would think that Star Wars would be able to at least do something.
Well, but to be very, very honest here, I was gonna be there at Anaheim, but even before it was gonna be canceled, I was still wondering, what are they really? I know things that they can talk about, but are they? Everything is so early in development, at least from what I know and what I've read. But I don't think that they can actually show anything. So I was very.
So you didn't think they had enough content to begin with?
No,
anyway?
I didn't think so. Mm-hmm. So maybe this was the fact that they rescheduled it for 2022 kind of reinforces that for me a little bit. It's just let's just skip that year and go to 2022 so that we can actually have lots of more things content to talk about. So I could be completely wrong, but that was always my view on it.
So about DC Fandome, they said the Batman is only 25% done. I already had a full trailer.
And they had a trailer. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think Marvel did something similar with Guardians of the Galaxy when it came out. That first trailer, they have been recording for about a week or something. They had a trailer set up for that movie already.
For Black Adam, they only showed concept art, and it looked amazing.
I think for Rogue One, for that, not really. I think they showed something for Rogue One on Celebration London, or maybe the year before they showed some concept art at least. Mm-hmm. But all right, so you guys talked about Celebration, at least you guys. So what are your Celebration stories? I mentioned at the beginning my story, which is not being there, unfortunately, rubbing in my face. But what are your guys' Star Wars Celebration stories?
Well, we have a very fun celebration story for Orlando. Because all three, the three of us that are in this conversation today went together, but it was 5 of us that went to Celebration Orlando, and that was our first convention ever, for any of us. So we were not prepared. So I don't know, maybe, maybe Mo or Nani, maybe you should tell our celebration experience in Orlando. Or
that was. Yeah, we were total noobs. We had no idea what we were getting into. We thought we were super cool, but we the fandom and how awesome it is, and we thought we were cool, but we were not at all. We kind of took it in stride how many panels there would be and how many lines we would have to take and just how huge it was going to be. So we kind of just breezed by it and missed a lot of it, I think, just because we because we didn't admit how much of nerds we were and how much we wanted to get into it. I think we lost some of the fun.
So you want everyone dressed in Star Wars cosplay from head to toe, but you think I'm too much of a nerd to show my Star Wars cosplay.
Kind of. Yeah, we thought we were like, we're nerds, but we're the cool nerds. So we're not gonna.
We're like above this.
We're just gonna walk in and get into all the panels, and it's just like that didn't work at all.
I mean, it worked for one panel.
Only one.
Yeah.
Only one.
Yeah.
But, that was.
And that was when we became humble, actually, because we did wake up at 4 a.m. to get in line.
Yeah.
Yep. It was kind of hilarious because we're like, we're just above all this. And then we saw the people cosplaying. It's like, that looks like fun.
Like,
they look awesome. We should join. We should stop being so full of ourselves.
Maybe we should take this seriously.
Yeah. Well, Mo, you didn't have to wear a Princess Leia costume. That's not what I'm saying. But we could try a little harder.
So you
that was the beauty of it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry? It was just beautiful. So validating that. Oh wait, to be a fan and to just splurge into everything that is totally acceptable. That is that's where I really felt identified with. So by the end, I was like, wait, we're just this whole big friends and family that are into this whole Star Wars.
So were you all three thinking of going again this year? This one that just got canceled or no?
Yeah, I had my tickets and I was all in. And it was very, this is going to be a really special one for me because my birthday is next week. So I was like, perfect. I could combine Star Wars Celebration with my birthday and just make it a trip and then go to Galaxy's Edge. And we actually was able to get the tickets for the Star Wars nights that they were doing. So I was all in. This whole thing has been soul crushing.
Sorry. Were you guys also thinking about going?
Well, I'm the worst one. I only went to Orlando with them. I didn't go to Chicago. Sorry.
Even though they had a place to stay in Chicago, but okay.
Well, life happens, Goose. I'm sorry.
Life happens. Who told you to get married? Yes.
Thanks. My brother went with you to Chicago, so deal with that. So I didn't go to Chicago, and we weren't really planning going on to Anaheim, but we were thinking of joining you guys for the next one.
Oh yeah.
So
you have to.
So as soon as the next one happens, obviously now we have to go.
And Alberto should be there too.
Yes.
You should definitely
2 years to plan it. So I have 2 years to start. To my kids, and my wife, you want to go to California one of these years? Let's start planning on it. And look where it falls. You can go.
What a coincidence!
Yes.
What a coincidence.
Yes,
I mean, you really have to. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it as much as I did, honestly. Just seeing so many people into something and being unjudgmental about it, and just we would talk to random people around all the time, and they would tell us their stories, and it was so much fun. Even without the panels and the everything, just the people there are just so into it. It's so good. Yeah, and you really don't see the negativity side of the Force at the conventions. You usually see the good side, the people that want to talk to you and don't judge you if you get something wrong or some character that you don't like. They're like, but why don't you? Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
And it's cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, that all the negativity of that Star Wars Twitter hate that's out there is not in the convention.
It's not. It really wasn't.
No.
At least, especially Chicago, my experience in Chicago, Mo and I were there together. I think Mo will agree with me. Our experience there was absolutely positive, especially when we were at those episodes, at the episode 1 panel, and Ahmed Best just comes out, and the guy went through some hard stuff. Because some fans were not very positive about Jar Jar Binks. But the very positive reception that man got from all the fans there it was very heartwarming because it's just like, okay, well, like I think people can like see beyond like, well, maybe they didn't like the character, but this is still a person, and it's still a person that's very passionate about what they did and their contribution to Star Wars. And also with Kelly Marie Tran, I think she got like a really good like reception in Chicago, and they were talking about Rise of Skywalker and whatnot. So like, I don't know, Chicago more so than like Orlando. Like I felt like that love and like positivity in the fandom was like really, really present, which kind of made it for me like a very positive experience. And I think something that everyone, like if they have the opportunity and they have the means and they can, I think it's something that they should absolutely share, because it's just like one family supporting each other.
Yeah. So I gotta go. Plus, I have a bet with another podcast. I forgot the name. So yeah, they're gonna. I have it's something. If you've been in Star Wars Twitter, a lot of people have their issues about pizza and putting pineapple on pizza, and who wants pineapple or not. From Wannabe Jedi podcast, they have a great show. Also, they're one of my first guests. And we were talking about, one of them is really into pineapples on pizza. I don't know how you guys feel about it. We'll talk about it in a minute. I said, he was, if you make it to Celebration in 2 years, he'll buy me a pineapple slice. So I gotta go. So I don't think it's a good trade. I have to pay for the flight and the hotel and the convention, and he'll buy me a slice of pizza just to try it. But I gotta do it for Matt from Wannabe Jedi.
Yeah.
So yeah,
one slice, only one slice, not a full pizza.
All right, so let's jump into it. So it didn't happen. Hopefully, we all wanted it to happen. Star Wars Celebration, either virtually or over there. So what panels would you guys would have liked to see? And I kind of broke it down into what we already know. So let's start with, if there was a TV panel and divided by live action and animated. So what I was thinking, that you guys can give me your ideas of what you might want to have seen on a TV panel from the live action shows. Of course, a trailer for Mandalorian Season 2.
Yes.
And then a lot more information about the Cassian series, possibly the title of the series, and maybe either a trailer or more information about what it is about. And then, of course, same thing for the Kenobi series, official title, and give us a sense of what it's going to be about. We all think, is he staying on Tatooine? Is he going away? Is Darth Vader going to have any impact on this? So that's kind of live action, what I was looking forward to. And there's also, it's been confirmed of a new TV show from Leslie Headland, which is a female-centric show happening in a different timeline. So more information about those shows. So that's what I wanted to hear. So what about you guys in live action TV panel?
I pretty much just agree with you with everything you said. That's everything that I wanted to see. So yeah, talk somebody else.
I mean, I have my mixed emotions with the Cassian Andor show, just because I mean I support it because again it goes back to like what we were talking about at the beginning. It's like that representation, and it's just like Diego Luna, Latino, let's go for it. Like especially now they have like what's her name, Ricardo Arjona's daughter. She's half Puerto Rican, so it's just like Latino power. Let's do this. But then when I look at it like objectively, it's like, well, do we need like this show, or now we're just like falling back into like these comfort areas of Star Wars, just like show more things that we're familiar with. That's why I'm kind of like on the fence with the Cassian show, even though I'll definitely watch it the minute it comes out on TV. But I don't know. I still wish like we were like promoting like new weird Star Wars, like set in like timelines that like are not what we're used to.
So if you could design your own Star Wars Disney Plus show, what would it be?
Well, I'm very selfish, and it's gonna be very contradictory to like what I just said. But I want to watch Luke Skywalker. I watch Luke Skywalker in his prime. I'm sorry, ignoring what I just said, that made me look like a hypocrite. I actually want like a show in the future of Star Wars. Like everyone always talks about the Old Republic and all that stuff, and I think that's really cool, and I want to see it too. But like we kind of understand what that is, and we've kind of seen it, so like we are familiar with how it should look. But that's why I kind of want to go into crazy future Star Wars, because it's just like, what is that? I don't know, and like I'm all in. It's just like I want weird. Let's see something I've never seen before.
It's interesting with this report, and this is official. It's Star Wars kind of reported on this. Leslie Headland, which did the Netflix show Russian Doll. So her show is supposed to be take place in a different timeline that we haven't seen. So that's either in the past or in the future. So you might be able to get your wish. So we'll see.
So.
For Cassian,
that sounds exciting.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that does. Yep.
I'm gonna sell you on Cassian and why you're gonna love this.
Please, no.
Go.
I do understand because we just had Rogue One, which is in that little space, right?
And it's amazing. I love Rogue One.
And Rogue One was fantastic.
You guys have it top there also on your show. There's so much that we can learn, I think, from the side of the Imperials, from the side of the Empire.
Yeah.
If it's a spy show like it was supposed to be, and then you have Cassian navigating both of those sides, because we know at the beginning of Rogue One, he does what he needs to do for the rebellion. He doesn't mind killing his informant. Just so that gray area there. Are you the good guy even if you're doing all this bad thing?
Exactly.
So showing both sides, not just the rebel side, but also the Empire and people behind those lines. And then from one of the books before Rogue One, it talks about how Cassian's family was part of the Separatists. So if they show that side of him being on the side and joining the rebellion and all that, I think that can be a different show, make it a spy thriller. That is something we haven't seen yet in Star Wars. If it's the same thing, he's already in the rebellion, the same jokes with K2SO, and then it stops right then when Rogue One starts, then we don't need that. So hopefully it's a little bit different, showing both sides of the war.
Yeah, no, I'm all in with that. And wasn't Cassian didn't he also use the codename Fulcrum at some point?
So I don't know if him or... Spoilers for Rebels.
Spoiler alert. Sorry, Nani.
It's fine.
First, but he was one of the Fulcrums. So
that could be cool. Like have Cassian and Ahsoka have a meeting.
We can have Saw Gerrera in there having a meeting with Mon Mothma when he separates from them. Bring in his nest that we know was hanging with Saw, and again, you can bring it. There's ways.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm receptive. I'm receptive.
I'm open to the idea.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna judge anything until it's out.
Yeah.
Well, whatever comes out, we'll probably all watch it anyway.
Exactly.
We're definitely gonna watch it regardless. Yep.
So Mo, what are your thoughts about at least the shows that have been announced already? Kenobi, Cassian, and same thing. If you want a new TV show that you could, hey, this is what I want to see, or want Star Wars to kind of announce in celebration, what would it be?
I think what I would love to see and develop a little bit more is either and this might just be because of where I'm at right now, but I'm really fascinated about how the development of like that personal journey that all characters, like at least our major characters, have, like Ahsoka, you have Asajj, you have like I really would like to see an investment on the psychological growth of those characters, especially the Kenobi one. How you will go from, you dedicated a chunk of your life to being a warrior, to being this person that just, I take orders, I give orders, and as you said, like, what are the real consequences of actually killing and destroying a life, which has, if taken more seriously what the Force is, every person you destroy has a repercussion in the large. I think that was one of the best things that A New Hope kind of like, you felt that disturbance when a whole planet get destroyed. Like so I want to see that development. I want to see how Kenobi matures into the troll master he later becomes. But
Laughing Goose.
Hmm?
Why
Oh,
are you
the troll, because of the troll master thing.
it is true. It is true. Like
It
he gets to that age where he just becomes
Doesn't care.
too sad. Like, and it's a good tribute to the whole. There's a lot of like Zen Buddhism infused within the Force, and it's a tribute to that. Like once you achieve a certain mastery, it's almost like things are both trivial and super important at the same time. So you have to become like a troll master. So I kind of, sorry, yeah.
No, finish up.
No, so that's where I want to see the Kenobi show grow up. But then again, I'm not raising my expectations for anything at this moment. I think I learned my lesson from Rise of Skywalker. Don't just enjoy what comes. Don't get your expectations high and running.
Don't tell that on Twitter.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we talked about it a lot actually last week with talking with my hands. We're talking about Kenobi, and that point when we all meet him in his show, he's lost everything. Everything he grew up believing in the Jedi Order has been taken away from him. What's he like to everything we believed in? It's false. Look what it led us to. This kid that I was forced into me, I wasn't ready to be a master to this new Padawan, which is supposed to be the savior of everyone, even though people don't want him to train. But I made a promise to my master, I'm not ready. And then to have to fight him and leave him for dead, he's lost everything. And then having to go and raise his son. So that psychology, like you mentioned, Mo, it's extremely important. I hope they do focus on that on the show, how much he's changed. And that's when we mentioned at the beginning, having those conversations with Qui-Gon are going to be more important. And like you guys mentioned, Qui-Gon's your favorite Jedi, is right up there for me. That's going to be heartbreaking, but at the same time, move that character so far forward that I hope they have to know that this is the way to go, and then everything else kind of falls in between. But that psychology of Obi-Wan needs to be there for that show.
Absolutely.
So if you have to, all right, and then so Nani, what's TV-wise? Is there anything special you're looking forward to, or doesn't matter? Like our friends, Force of Light Entertainment, are saying they're excited for all the shows announced. And I
am very excited. I mean, about anything that they can do with Obi-Wan, I'm really excited about them doing the different layers of him, just as Mo said. And I am really excited about The Mandalorian as well. The Mandalorian, I actually watched it way after all the hype ended, thinking everybody was overhyping it, and it was amazing regardless. It was nothing I ever expected. I know you talked about before that there's maybe way too many characters for the next season. We'll see what happens with that, but I'm still very excited to see Ahsoka. And I'm still very excited to see Bo-Katan as well. And I know I haven't watched Rebels or Clone Wars, but I love Katie Sackhoff, and I've read about the character, and I'm actually very excited to see it.
So if we're talking about everything that's been announced, I think Bo-Katan is the one that makes the most sense to appear in season 2 of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that one
even more than Ahsoka. Yeah. When they first announced her, I love Ahsoka Tano to begin with. So I don't know what she's gonna do in The Mandalorian, but it would still be really cool to see her.
Yeah, I mean the dark saber itself just invites every Mandalorian to show up, like even Sabine.
Yeah.
It's like
Darksaber. That was such a surprise.
Yes. Oh yeah.
I'm dying.
Like, what's going on here?
I watched it with my family, and my wife and kids are like, what?
What's that? It's just a lightsaber, Dad.
No. All right. So anything else, Nani, before we move on?
No, we can keep going.
All right. And then keeping with the TV shows, then we have the animated panels. It was just announced a few months ago, the Bad Batch coming out, which I don't know how you guys feel about it. And of course, we want to know what happens with our friend Ezra and Thrawn, where are they? So that's the other animated show. Is it the sequel to Rebels? So having some confirmation about that, I'm sure we would have gotten that in Celebration. So what are your thoughts
Absolutely.
first about the Bad Batch show? How do you feel about that one? Again, it's still in the same area that we already know. It's more Clone Wars era. And also that Ezra Thrawn possibility as a Rebel sequel. Whoever wants to go.
I think from my my experiences in both the conventions, the animated panels were by far the funnest ones. You just enjoyed the whole panel. Like remember like for the Bad Batch, I can even see like the panel like showing their equipment, like the character designs, and just getting excited about what this might bring. It's in the same vein as Clone Wars. I guess it's a good thing that we're probably not gonna see that much of like the Jedi's and whatnot. This is just like this group that I like. It's weird because they kind of feel like a little bit like X-Men-ish in a way.
Yeah. Interesting. A good point.
But it wouldn't have been my first choice to see a show about, but if they're gonna make it, I'm intrigued to see if they contribute anything else to the story, or if it's just gonna be just fun episodes to watch. Like I would like to see the story grow up a little bit. Maybe even see like how why, and it goes back, I guess, to your point, Alberto. Like you were saying, there are also people on the other side of the battle with very legitimate reasons to be fighting for that battle. So maybe if that's even like just touched a little bit, that'll be interesting. And then for the Rebels, Ahsoka, where Thrawn and Ezra are, what I loved about Rebels, and it was like their approach to the Force. How you're not anymore. You have like creatures that are Force sensitive that use the Force. You have the whole the tie-in of the father, the daughter, and the son. So like and Thrawn being such a character, and then Goose probably knows more about Thrawn, but from what I gathered, it's a person that studies and really appreciates the background of so I can definitely see almost like, will there be a turning of like if Tron gets to understand Ezra, kind of like how we saw with Seb and what's his name? I forgot. He later became Fulcrum.
Cassian?
No.
No.
Oh my God.
Exactly. Yes.
I'm gonna
Jesus Christ.
Oh
my God, we call ourselves fans and we don't know.
And that's it for Radio Rebellion. Our podcast has been canceled.
Exactly. This is the last day.
But so I really
Kalos.
Yes.
Yeah,
And we're back on the show. We're live again.
Yeah. So seeing that sort of like relationship of like Ezra and Thrawn working together, because they're probably somewhere where they just have to, that will be really exciting on my part.
Cool. Any other thoughts, you guys? Anything from that animated panel? Any new animated show you would like to see? Or what are your thoughts, I guess, on the Bad Batch first, and then see RFB. There we go, Kalos. He's our guy. And I'm surprised.
Sorry, we messed up. Sorry.
But that's fine. Thanks.
We were just thinking about it in Spanish. That's why we couldn't come up with it. That's it. Personally, Bad Batch, I was kind of surprised when they announced that because I was like, okay, this is kind of a weird show to kind of go into, considering that we've only seen them for like maybe 2 or 3 episodes in one season, especially like when we really don't know where they'll be in that post episode 3 world, because we never saw if they were aware or even cared about the ships there. Like, did they execute Order 66? Like, if they did, like, how did they get the ships out? It's just like I don't know. There's like a lot of things in there that's just like, I mean, I would imagine that they'll answer those questions appropriately. But like for me, I was kind of dubious about the show until like I saw today's Star Wars Explained episode where Alex was kind of like mentioning like how the show could be cool in terms of like making it clone focused, obviously, but like how they would fall into new roles in the Empire and how they would like interface with the Bad Batch. I think that could be cool, but still apprehensive a little bit about that one.
Yeah, I think we lost Gus for a moment, but I mean, hopefully it'll come back in a minute. I mean,
I wanted to just say a little bit something. One of the reasons that I didn't get into any of the animated series is because I don't like the animation. I don't like the blocky CGI animation. I'm a fan of anime. So if you give me an anime version of Star Wars with them using lightsabers like they use katanas in an anime vision it would look amazing. I mean, you would put the Star Wars universe into an anime done animation, I would be completely into that. Completely. I just don't like the animation.
It's all the story.
I know it's all the story. I know it is. But if animation, if you give it an anime twist, I think you could get people that aren't even into Star Wars to watch it, and then you get more people into the universe.
There's a few YouTube fan edits, I think, of some
that they do some anime versions of them, and they look gorgeous.
Really good.
They look amazing. So I think that's something for Disney to consider. If somebody listens to this, and do just better animation. Everybody's listening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy's listening to this right now.
Alberto and the Triad are having their show talking about celebration.
Exactly.
Let's see what great ideas they come up with this week. Just keep an eye on your emails. It might go to your junk folder, but keep an eye out for a Lucasfilm official email. So all right, so we're done with the live action or with the TV panels, and I had another one before we get to the big one, but let's go ahead and jump in because we've been going on for a while.
Yes.
But the movie panels, I mean, that's what we do here.
Yeah.
We're having a good time. If it was too short, it was because we're having a good time. We're having fun here. So the movie panel. This is where there's so much things happening with them, or so little things, I should say.
We don't know anything about the movies.
So there's so much they could have announced. You mentioned it, Gus, at the beginning, the Rian Johnson trilogy. Is that still happening?
It's even happening, yeah.
And where is it going? A lot of people, it's the Broom Boy from The Last Jedi or something further in the future. Taika Waititi, maybe we get some more info about his movie. There was I think it's just a rumor a few months back during the summer that I forgot the name. There's another person that was kind of rumored for a Star Wars movie. They didn't know if
Kevin Feige from Marvel.
Kevin Feige was said to be planning. I want to say that I think him and Taika Waititi's movie might be connected. That's just me.
Maybe. It makes sense.
Yeah. What's the other? I forgot the name of the guy, but he did a kind of a horror movie in Netflix, kind of suspenseful horror movie. And then there was rumors that he JD Argo something or anyway, I'll find it, or if you guys know in the chat, RFB, you got my back always. JD Dillard, I think is his name. He's got a couple of movies that he has on Netflix, so kind of horror vibe. So maybe you get your
what more one?
Maybe get more information about those, and then we know that movies will push to 2023. So what does that mean? What movie is that? Is it one of the ones that have been announced or a new trilogy? So yeah, movie panel. You're sitting in Star Wars Celebration. What do you want to see?
That's loaded. I'm gonna fall back into I'm gonna fall back into like my answer for like live action. It's just like I want something completely different. It's like either like the ancient Jedi, like how they came to be, or like that ancient Jedi Sith war and whatnot, or just like the future. Because like that's the thing with the past. Like I think it's cool because we have an idea of like some of the things that we can expect from that past and how it could look like. But I think the future is more exciting in a way because it's like we have no idea what it looks like. We have no idea like what can happen or who's in it or what everything like what the ships will look like or there's even Jedi. It's like everything's a big unknown and I'm all in like for that. So it's basically a similar answer to live action.
But then you were really excited for the Rian Johnson trilogy.
I am, but I don't know what it's about. I don't think it's about Broom Boy, honestly. Like everyone says that, but I was like, come on, guys. Like, we're not gonna have. I really doubt that Lucasfilm is gonna like have that trilogy be about Broom Boy training with Rey so early after the trilogy was done. I think there's gonna be definitely an episode 10, but I think it'll be like in like 2029 or something. So like at least 10 years.
Because right now they said the next movies are 2023, 25, and 27. So they have those trilogy. If it's a trilogy or just 3 different movies, that's already planned. It can't be that Rian Johnson, I think, because it really hasn't been announced or anything about it. So it'll have to be after that if they do episode 10 through 2029 at the earliest. And that then you can decide what to do. If hopefully not follow the Skywalker saga, but then don't call it episode 10 because episode
because it's supposed to be in the saga if you call it episode 10.
So what about you, Nani? What if you were sitting down in Star Wars Celebration, the movie panel, any of the announced movies, kind of the Taika Waititi, Kevin Feige, any of those get you excited or?
Not really, honestly. I'm not that excited. I wanted to see something completely different, and I would love for them to actually keep the pattern of trilogies. I don't want any more Skywalker. Just keep it in like a trilogy, make it part of a saga. But I don't know. I don't really. I mean, maybe in the future, I would really love for them to, evolve to think again about the nature of the Force. Go again into like the dark, the light. Maybe you have the gray again, and then we'll get all the dichotomies of what the Force is, which is what they were kind of trying to do in Last Jedi, which not everybody loves. So I should not go there for reference.
It's a space.
But I would love to see a lot more into just exploring into the nature of the Force and what it looks like in the future. When again, people probably don't believe in it. And then you will get little niches of people that do believe in it and are following who knows what norm or what canon and see how that evolves and what kind of world they're living in. Is it another empire? Is it another republic? What are we doing? Is it just completely independent planets that don't communicate? I mean, it would be really fun to see. So.
Eventually, they'll have to go into the future. They'll have to get away from this. I do hope that they don't fall back into the same well of, now there's this big government or this big evil, this planet destroying or whatever. I think it has to be a little bit more a smaller size. And I don't think that's what Star Wars is. In the big screen, it's all these big adventures, which is not what I think we want at the moment, because it's hard if they go now in 5 years and they do, we have these 2 battling governments and they're just going to destroy the universe. We've seen this for years.
No, honestly, I think
another Death Star.
It's going to be really hard for them to go back into the theaters. I think they should really focus on doing TV and animation, with they're doing very well at. I don't think they should rush into doing a huge animated, a huge cinematic universe.
Star Wars for movies, at least from my experience with it, Star Wars movies have always been better when there's less of them. Like when we had like those big 3-year gaps between the prequels. That made like the expectation for all those movies like amazing. Like those 10 years between episode 3 and episode 7, like kept making that hype. But like having a Star Wars movie every year, kind of like it's great. But like at the other hand, it's just like it just normalizes it to a degree that just doesn't make it exciting anymore. Star Wars is always
Well,
better.
and especially if they try to rush it and they don't have a story right, and then they will have a
Rise
new
of
universe
Skywalker.
right. Shut up about that. We'll get to that eventually. But I don't know. It's gonna be really hard for them to figure out what they're gonna do cinematically right now, honestly. And what's gonna drag somebody to the theater and make it at the scale that the Star Wars movies are supposed to be if you don't have a solid story for it.
I mean, I think even in one of the comments that Catherine Kennedy did a few weeks ago was that they were stepping back a little bit to think what the future of Star Wars was going to look like.
Mhm.
So I hope, because a lot of the argument against this last trilogy is that it wasn't a consistent story. Every group had their different visions. That's why
Yep.
they feel like one story. So hopefully they'll do work on that. I have a great idea before it falls back into what the movies used to be. And I know we have on the chat the Force of Light Entertainment. They love going to the movies. They have a great channel. They not just talk about Star Wars, they talk about a lot of different movies and TV shows. And they do love that movie experience. And I don't think that's going to go away because that's where most of the money is going to come from. But it's going to be different. I think it's going to be a different type of Star Wars movie when we go back to the movie. But
And I think that would have actually been a fantastic panel to get a lot of people like in the film industry talking about what the future of it could be and what ideas they would have.
Yeah, Kathy is listening to this, so
definitely.
They're gonna invite all of us.
We'll be there in the panels.
We'll be
in the
there.
story group.
Back in 2020, we met on a small podcast and we came up with the future of Star Wars. So
Exactly. Make that Disney money.
So what about you?
Well, I think so. I hope they actually, like we were just saying, like steer away from let's do just like this big trilogy. Like, and if what I'm seeing makes any sense, I think they're trying to emulate a little bit what Marvel did. Have like this background overarching story that maybe you don't have to know where it's gonna end or what's leading to, but there's this concept that, especially with bringing also like the same type of directors that already worked with Marvel and other, like we might see a Star Wars more influenced by like comic books where you might have like separate stories that each affect each other. So that to me seems like a positive future for the films, especially seeing like what we saw in the last trilogy. Like it wasn't consistent, even though we were trying to follow that consistency that the prequels and the original trilogy had. So that could be a positive going forward. Also like on another like film, like I would like to. This is more like it will be interesting to kind of like. And this might be controversial, but I really like the figure of Palpatine. So maybe seeing a Palpatine kind of like House of Cards. Maybe where we see how Palpatine climbs to power not only through the Force but also in the Senate. Like I will be totally down to just watching Ian McMahon just replaying and doing that.
Wow.
I mean, Palpatine
House of Cards.
Love character.
That's
a lot
good.
of people love Palpatine. It's one of their favorite characters, and there's so much you can do with him. I haven't read the novel Darth Plagueis because it's not canon. I don't know if you guys read it, but I've heard it's one of the best movies out there, and it does build that Plagueis Palpatine relationship and gives you that House of Cards kind of gangster kind of feel from what I've heard. That might be a good story to go with. It's just don't make him not lovable because Palpatine still has to be this evil guy. You can make him too, I don't know what's the word, too sentimental or something. He still has to be that evil
sympathetic.
guy. Not sympathetic, thanks. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great possibilities, and unfortunately we didn't get to see them. So we got a couple more things I wanted to go through, but we're reaching that 2-hour mark. So I think we're gonna start wrapping it up. Is there any other panel or something? You guys have been to Star Wars Celebration. Something else you wanted would have wanted to see this year?
Well, like you were talking about before, I would have liked to panel on the games as well, just to see and and set up like maybe a little game area so you can actually try a little bit of the game, like try out some of the gameplay and see how they're getting better, because the Star Wars games have gotten better.
Yeah.
They were really good and then they got terrible and then they started kind of getting a little bit better, but they could be so much better.
But also in the past, before the Disney, the Disney acquisition, like there was consistently a lot of Star Wars games, and like now it's just like there's like basically like maybe one game
or
a year.
two. Yeah.
So like having more content, so that would be exactly. I think that would be like a cool panel, but like only if like they're gonna talk about like quantity. Like I do want my quality, but I also like want more.
See, and try to do more games. Yeah, because there's so much you can do with games in the Star Wars universe. I mean, it's almost unlimited. Like all the kind of things you can do. Yeah, you can have role-playing games. You can have the dogfight games. You can have the online games. You can even have role-player online Final Fantasy style. I mean, there's so much things you could do with the Star Wars universe, and I think they haven't explored that enough. There's a lot of money in gaming as well.
Yes.
So, yes. And us nerds that love Star Wars love gaming too, usually. So I think they've made a mistake in not, investing as much into gaming as they should.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
We have in the chat Anthony saying that if he makes it to Star Wars Celebration, it won't be for the panels. It's going to be to spend every day with all of you in my playlist, everyone that he listens to, including those four on the screen, the whole chat room. So again, the guy.
Thank you.
Anthony.
Thank you.
Oh, he's the man. He's the best out there. Anything else, Mo? Any other panel you would like to see, or anything else in Celebration?
Well, I'm guessing this is not gonna happen anymore. But I was excited to see the 40-year anniversary of Empire. That would have been a really, when I think on Chicago we saw, I think was it the 10-year, 20-year for
10,
Phantom Menace? 10.
Wait,
Probably 20.
Oh my God, it's
20,
been 20.
Chicago was last year, then it'll be 20 years because it came out in 1999. So
1999. Yeah.
Yes.
Holy crap.
And that was a really fun.
yeah, Orlando, we did the 40 years of
40th
New Hope, right?
Yeah.
Of New Hope.
Yes.
That was awesome. Yep.
And those were really great panels. You can feel the energy, the excitement of like,
It's the anniversary.
It's the anniversary. You also feel like, it shows your age. It's like, oh man, it's been 20 years or 40 years, but that brings so much like excitement to see both like the fans that have always been fans since the beginning and the new fans and the younger generations just getting excited about something that already inspired so many generations of fans and storytelling, and so I would have loved to see that panel, and if they do anything that's like virtual online, at least like even or it could be like something like the behind the scenes that they did for the Mandalorian. It would be nice to see something like that for Empire.
Yeah. So apart from that 40th anniversary panel, I had written maybe a publishing panel to talk a little bit more about the High Republic books. We know there's some novels coming for the Mandalorian. The Throne novel is coming out next week, I believe. So getting my hands on that hopefully on Tuesday when it comes out, and then we'll.
It's already next week. Throne's coming out.
Yeah, September the 1st.
Okay.
And then some other cool panels, video games you mentioned already, Nani, and then be cool to see a music panel because we all know John.
Yeah, the scores are amazing.
Yeah, with Louis Göransson doing his one for Mandalorian,
right.
John Powell doing solo, and then Michael Giacchino with Rogue One. Just have all those great composers in one room and let them talk about the music. Will have been something great that I don't think we've seen before.
I wouldn't have thought about it, but you're completely right. That would have been amazing.
Awesome.
I mean, the scores are one of the things you remember the most, but you kind of put in the back burner and forget about it. But that's what you most remember. When a scene comes up in one of the movies and you have the old score coming on behind it, it's so good. So yeah, that would have been amazing to have the composers actually show up and talk about what they were inspired for in everything they did for Star Wars. So yeah.
All right, and with that, actually, we're gonna be calling it a night. We went on for 2 hours. Thank you guys a lot, Triad of the Force, Gus, Nanny, and Mo. Thank you guys for taking the time and speak with me today.
I'm sorry we talked for so long.
Yeah, it happens. It happens.
Keep going, and that's why Star Wars people together. And yeah, there are 20,000 different podcasts, but we sit down and we just go on for hours.
But these are the best ones. Yeah.
Where can our listeners find you guys?
So we are on Twitter. We're only on Twitter and YouTube right now. But Twitter, our handle is @Triad of the Force. If you want to find us, and YouTube as well, you search for Triad of the Force, you will find our channel there, where we hopefully will be uploading all of our podcasts in video format there in the near future. So those are the spaces where you can reach out to us, communicate, follow, talk, whatever you want.
Yeah, make sure to follow these guys' brand new podcast. They just released their first episode next week. You're thinking about your next one. Any idea when that next one might drop or not yet?
We're thinking tomorrow.
Soon.
Oh.
Yeah,
we're thinking tomorrow recording. We don't know what we will talk about, but the plan is to do something tomorrow.
All right. Do you think you'll always be releasing them on Sunday or Monday? Do you have a release schedule set or not yet?
I think it's subject to change because we don't know what the frequency that we want to do is yet. But for now, I think we will do Sundays. We just don't know if it's going to be like a weekly or bi-weekly type of thing.
Yeah, whatever works. And right now, you don't talk too much about the news, but still, there's not a lot of Star Wars news to talk about. Yeah. So it's good to get that set first before you set on a schedule. But again, thanks to the three of you guys. Thanks to Triad of the Force for joining Radio Rebellion today. Make sure to follow them, give them a follow on Twitter, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and love having you guys here. We'll sure to do this again at some time. For me, you guys know if you're watching this right now, YouTube, search for Radio Rebellion Podcast. On Twitter, @Radio Rebel Pod. Also on Instagram. And if you're watching this later on the replay, make sure to leave a comment. And this will drop on the podcast on audio format on Monday. So thanks again to you guys. Thanks to everyone in the chat and everyone that's listening to this later. Stay safe, be safe, and may the Force be with you.
Thank you.